Good morning, guys. So today's video is about a question that I oftentimes get, and that question is, why are runners from Ethiopia and Kenya so good? And the reason why I wanted to make this video is because I actually lived with and trained with numerous Ethiopians and Kenyans over the years, and just wanted to kind of give my take on why I think they're so good. My own personal opinion regarding the runners from Ethiopia and Kenya is their mindset and their drive is not normal. You usually see a difference between the athletes that are great and good, and there's a big difference. And the reason why is they are so immersed, so driven, so focused on excelling in our sport. They do not, one of the big characteristics that I see between runners from Ethiopia and runners from Kenya as compared to other athletes is they get over disappointments very quickly. They never lose enthusiasm about what they're doing. And I think here in the United States of America, runners get really upset and pissed off when we run a bad race or we have a poor workout. You know, runners from Ethiopia and Kenya, at least the ones that I've trained with and lived with, they don't get upset. They think long term. They're not short term thinkers. And I don't necessarily think too that, you know, they're runners from other countries that are just as fast or even faster than runners from Ethiopia and Kenya. It's just that the dominant countries in world athletics at the elite level are usually from Ethiopia and Kenya. You know, here in the United States of America, we have, you know, our sprinters are dominant, similar to Jamaica in the short sprint events as well. You know, the current world record holder for the 5K and 10K is from Ethiopia. The world record holder for the 800 meters at 140.91 is David Rudisha of Kenya. Kenny Bekele, as I mentioned, from Ethiopia, holds the world record for 5K and 10K on the track. The 5K is 12 minutes and 37 seconds. The 10K is 26 minutes and 17 seconds. And I actually was stationed in Belgium in 2005 when Bekele, or Bekele, however you choose to pronounce it, ran the 10,000 meters in Brussels in 26 minutes 17 seconds, which averages out to 4 minutes 13 seconds per mile for 6 miles. So it's really incredible what these athletes are doing. And Bekele has been so dominant for so many years, as has Eliud Kipchoge, the current world record holder for the marathon. He's from Kenya. You know, his world record is 2 hours, 1 minute, 39 seconds for the marathon, which comes out to 4 minutes, 38 seconds per mile, which is absolutely astonishing to me that somebody can have that large of an engine. You know, that guy does not have a Chevy engine. He has a Ferrari engine, to say the least. Also, Kenny Bekele's 5,000 meter, or Bekele's 5,000 meter world record is 12 minutes 37 seconds, which comes out to 4 minutes and 3 seconds per mile for 3.1 miles on the track. So these are athletes that are at the very top, at the highest levels of international sport, international endurance running. But they're just as there are great examples of runners from Ethiopia and Kenya, such as Kenny Bekele and Eliud Kipchoge. There are plenty of runners or people from Ethiopia and Kenya who are not runners, who will never be runners, and who never want to be runners. There are great athletes from the United States of America. There's great athletes from China, from Japan. I mean, the current world record, or the current national record for Japan for the marathon is 2 hours, 5 minutes, and 50 seconds. A Japanese guy did that at the Chicago Marathon. I think it was in 2017 or 2018. He ran under 2 hours and 6 minutes. That's an elite time that many elite Kenyans can't even run, or elite Ethiopians never run. So it's not just the fact that every athlete or every individual from Ethiopia or Kenya is a phenomenal runner, because that's not the case. Another big reason why I think, and what I observed from these athletes, is they train in groups. They're very focused on getting groups that are of runners that are much better than them, that can push them to, you know, their next level in terms of their physiological and mental capacity. And some of the best workouts I've ever done in my life, I did in groups. You don't necessarily need that, but in terms of seeing what the great Ethiopia and Kenyan runners do, they train in groups. Addis Ababa is the capital of Ethiopia. That's where large groups of Ethiopian runners train, and they go to, it's at higher altitude. And attend Kenya, among other places in Kenya, which is very high altitude. I think it's around 7,000 feet elevation. So that high altitude is another high altitude environment that they live in and train in, also assists them as well. Another difference that I've seen with runners from Ethiopia and Kenya that I've trained with and lived with is they don't believe in talent. I mean, most Americans, if you have a conversation with them about running and how you get faster running, is they usually mention, you have to have a certain level of talent. Runners from Ethiopia and Kenya think very long term. They think if you continue to focus and immerse yourself and zero in on your capability over a decade or over many years, that you can get to the elite level in endurance sport. And again, their mindset is a do whatever it takes attitude. I mean, they do not quit. They're very immersed in what they're doing. And I think we here in America, or regardless of where you are in the world, if you're immersed in something and you're hungry and you're driven and you're willing to do it over years and not just a few weeks or a few months, you're going to be successful in this sport. The problem is with too many runners here in the United States and around the world is we give up too quick. You have got to realize that what you're doing is going to it may take a couple decades to get to a point where you're running at that dream goal that you're shooting for. I had to run from 1992 all the way to 2007 to break a 2-hour, 20-minute marathon. And that's a lot of time. And also I trained in every type of weather condition, in blizzards and in sandstorms when I was deployed to Kuwait in 2003 when the war started. I've been in every type of condition, in pouring down rain, extreme heat. You got to be out there putting in the mileage, and in altitude at sea level. It's just like what these athletes from Ethiopia and Kenya are doing. They're training at very high altitudes, not all the time, but most of the time. If they're living at altitude, that definitely gives them an advantage because you've trained your body to do those hard anaerobic workouts at much higher altitudes with much less oxygen. So it's very, very difficult to do that type of hard work at such high altitudes with such little oxygen as compared to training at sea level. So that's another big reason why the runners from Ethiopia and Kenya are so good. I think that a lot of what we see from these athletes, you see the event, you don't see the process. And the process is that hard daily work over years, over months, over weeks, and all we usually see is what they do on the roads and on the track, and we think that they're supposedly so much better than you or I. And I can tell you from my own experience that they pants on one leg at a time. They bleed red just like us. They have fears and doubts just like you and I. For you to outrun them, you had better have done your homework in training. And most of the time, if you're going to beat somebody from Ethiopia or Kenya that's a competitive athlete, you have to have done adequate hard anaerobic workouts, training far below your goal race pace. And like I teach in these other videos and on RunDreamAchieve.com, you've got to be able to spend long periods of time training at your anaerobic threshold and doing those once a week VO2 max workouts where you're training at closer to your 100% of your maximum heart rate. This is the type of habits that runners from Ethiopia and Kenya exemplify. They're continually training at very long periods of time at high heart rates. They don't have another big reason they're so good. Their diet is not like here in the States. They don't have they don't consume a lot of fried foods, fast foods. They don't consume sodas and a lot of, they're no less than you and I in terms of capability. It's just they have a very long-term mindset. They train very, very hard. They do not lose enthusiasm when they have a disappointing race or a disappointing performance in training. You know, I've run across so many runners from Ethiopia and Kenya that will have a bad race or a bad performance, and literally minutes after that bad performance or bad race, they're already talking about running their next race and what times they're going to be running their race in. Find out what great runners do and mimic their work habits, and realize that even the best distance runners from Ethiopia and from Kenya and around the world, not just in these African countries, because there's no doubt about it, the best distance runners are stemming from Ethiopia and Kenya, but there are also phenomenal world-class athletes that are coming from Sweden, from Norway, from Switzerland. There's a guy from Switzerland who just broke the Switzerland national record for the marathon. I think he ran under 2 hours and 6 minutes for the marathon. So these are just examples of athletes that are training very, very hard at their VO2 max and at their anaerobic threshold for long periods of time and for many years to get to a point where they can put up those types of efforts. So when you see a runner from Ethiopia or from Kenya on the track and roads, realize there's a lot that you're not seeing. You're seeing the event. You're seeing the performance on the roads or on the track. But what we do not see is those early morning runs, those 2-a-day workouts over years that got them to that point where they can run that fast or a specific distance. So just keep those things in mind. If you're brand new to the channel, my name is Nate Pennington. I'm the founder of RunDreamAchieve.com. My main event is the marathon. I ran 2 hours, 19 minutes, and 35 seconds. I definitely encourage you, if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel. Click on subscribe and the bell icon so when I make a new video, you'll be notified. I welcome you to leave a comment below. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know what you think. If you've trained with Ethiopians or Kenyans, let me know your thoughts. What do you think is the reason why they're so good? And if there's something that I didn't cover in this video, let me know. If you have a specific question or something else you want me to make a video on or comment on, let me know, and I'll definitely be willing to do that. I really look forward to hearing from you guys. I wish you guys the best in your training, and I'll talk to you in the next video.